Hello and welcome back for this episode of Trends from PATA Travel Mart 2025 Expo Floor. I'm with Imtiaz Muqbil, editor of Travel Impact Newswire and Thailand's leading tourism historian. And you are watching Trends. Imtiaz Muqbil, Travel Impact Newswire. I've seen some social media comments where you've been quite negative, maybe truthful. What's all this negativity?
David, which part of the question would you like me to answer? Because you've described it as being negative and truthful. Well, sometimes that can be a bit of an oxymoron. Would you like me to talk about the truthful part of it or the negative? Because what you describe as being negative, I prefer to talk as truthful. If you see it as being negative, that's more your problem than mine.
But hey, we have a voice, you have a voice for tourism. We need to candy floss to attract more visitors. They're not going to come to a sad story, are they?
Yes. Do you know why over-tourism, everybody talks about over-tourism today. Do you know why?
They used to, not now, but before pre-COVID, yes, indeed.
Whatever it is, it's become a cliche today. But do you know why, what is the main reason it occurred? There's lots of people banding around reasons.
Negative or zero value Chinese tourists coming en masse?
Oh, yes. And how long ago did that start?
About 5 years ago.
5 years ago. The age of the big jumbo jets dawned in the late 1970s. There were the jumbo jets went from being about 150 seats in the old Boeing 707s to these behemoths, 350 seat 747s. The age of over-tourism dawned at that time. There were plenty of warnings about what was going to come because the industry was not prepared for it. There were plenty of warnings. And the people like us were warning about it because you simply cannot go from being a tripling of industry numbers without having some downhill consequence impact of that. People who tell the truth or negative thinkers like me and a whole bunch of others, including our friend Don Ross and a whole bunch of other people, were warning about it. But you know what the industry was thinking? Positive thinkers like you were saying, wow, we are going to get 300% growth. Let's go for it. Let's build more hotels. Let's build more convention centers. True. So, forgive me for saying so, but the problem is positive thinkers like you rather than negative thinkers like me, because I'm on the warning. I'm on the record as having warning about the negative consequences, while people like you were trumpeting the positive side and sweeping everything under the carpet.
But what's your issue with the PATA Thailand board? I saw some negative comments that, they need to get their act together for marketing. What's all driving these comments? Again,
you're seeing, how would you like to describe that? As negative thinking or as truthful thinking?
Quite bold comments.
Well, again, going back to your original question.
Well, why would you make those comments?
Why? Which comments are you referring to?
Where you were negative about PATA Thailand was doing some promotion and you were bemoaning that they don't know what they're doing and nobody's looking to the past to look to the future.
I think you'll have to be a little bit more specific about that question, David, because I don't think you seem to know what you're talking about.
You should remember that because we had...
Well, you're asking the question, so you should be the one remembering it. And if you can't, then I'm sorry, you'll have to go back and do your research.
We had a back and forth.
I know, but you're asking the question.
You said, let's have this out on video. So now's the opportunity, and I just want to... Okay, we won't go into specifics.
Why not? Because you're asking the question.
I'm concerned about the negativity.
Well, and I'm asking you to be a little bit more specific about your question because what you're describing as negativity does not seem to have any basis.
Okay, there was a PATA event.
You really don't know what you're talking about.
There was a PATA event in Europe doing a lot of good with Peter Simone and then up on social media.
A PATA event in Europe?
Yeah, and you then start coming online and start being negative to Peter, which I found was very personal and not professional.
Is that an opinion or a fact?
That was a fact. I can draw that up on camera.
What exactly is Peter doing? What is his title?
Chairman of PATA.
And how do you become chairman?
Through being elected.
Elected. If you become elected, you're what? To your members, what are you?
You are a democratically elected president who is the voice of the members.
And you're basically What do you have to do?
Leading the organization.
And in which case the organization has a right to ask questions about that.
Indeed.
And you have to be accountable to them.
Correct.
And you have to get up at the annual general meeting and you have every right to ask them questions.
Stop. It's as though you're leading this interview. Okay, true, very true.
So, prove me wrong. If I get up and say, and I challenge the conventional wisdoms of an elected chairman who is democratically required to be accountable to his membership, what exactly is wrong with that?
Okay. Point taken.
Thank you.
Okay. But, okay, you are the number one tourism historian in Thailand, which is unquestionable. But you keep talking about going back to the past, and particularly you focus on 1987. I don't know why. Shouldn't we be looking more to the future rather than the past?
Okay.
Past is for old people. As I get old, I start thinking about all my old memories, and I start thinking less about the future because the grave is sort of down that road. So why should we be looking to the past? What's the value in it?
All right. Why do you go to a museum?
To cherish the rich culture and heritage and history.
Which is all about the?
Sorry?
Which is all about the? The past. Say it.
The past. The past, yeah.
Challenge me. You said, why do I focus on the past? So why do you go to a museum? To cherish the history and the heritage. You didn't mention the word past, but that's what it's all about. Yes. You go to a museum to understand the past. The history and heritage which we sell for a living in the travel and tourism industry, is enshrined in a museum. There is nobody who doesn't go to the National Museum, and they go to the museum not to study AI, but they go to look at the old ways. And in the museum, when you go there, you look at the history, the heritage, which is all about the past. You talk about the kings of Thailand, the civilizational role of why we are today where we are. Right? You go to a museum for that. You name me one tour that doesn't include a museum anywhere in the world. What are you studying? So when I study the past and when I remind people about the history of the past, this is exactly what I'm trying to do. And when people begin to knock that like you're doing, and I hope you're going to print this, I hope you're going to publish this, without any editing.
I'm editing him out.
Because I'm taking you to task for exactly the same kind of stuff that you're asking me.
Imtiaz, you keep harping on about an irrelevant date of 1987. What the hell has that got to do?
And that's part of the problem, because you have no idea what 1987 is. You have no idea.
I was born, but I can't remember.
That's exactly the problem. You should go back and look at it, because as I keep telling people that this was the event that changed global tourism. You interviewed me about it about 5 years ago.
I'm playing the dumb person now. Yeah, really?
Go back and do the research. And I've written enough about it.
So what happened in 1987?
See, now you don't know. See, that's it. And you're the one who claims to be looking at the future. Well, how can you build a better future if you don't understand the history of this country's travel and tourism industry? You've got a job in this industry because of the way it was built long before you came on the scene.
Very true.
That's right. So you need to respect and appreciate that, and appreciate those who are trying to keep that heritage alive. 1987 was exactly part of their rich history and heritage, which you know nothing about, but which you are making a damn good living out of. So maybe you need an education.
Hold on, but why was that year special? Can you just explain?
Because it marked the 60th anniversary, the 60th birthday of His Majesty King Bhumibol the Great. The auspicious 5th cycle birthday, one of the most auspicious events in a man's life, in a man or woman's life cycle. And you know nothing about it. Why? Because you have no interest in history and the past. You only want us to focus on the future.
Oh, okay. It was a historic moment in Thailand for His Majesty the King's landmark birthday. How does that impact tourism?
Because it was marked by an event called Visit Thailand Year 1987, the first of the mega events. And that event was one of the most, not only just a marketing extravaganza, but it was also an event, a post-crisis management event, because in 1985 we had a really bloody coup on the streets of Bangkok, in which a lot of journalists died, including a friend of mine. It was one of the bloodiest coups we had. And Visit Thailand Year was launched as an event that would would help the industry recover from that crisis, as well as mark the 60th birthday of His Majesty the King. And you know nothing about it. And you keep going on at me about negativity and harping on the past and Peter Simone when you were the ones who needed really bad education. And I'm really glad we're having this interview because I really want you to people to know how little you know about this industry.
Okay, and how do we find out? I know, did you write a book?
Yes, I wrote 2 books about it.
Okay, there was something like the greatest tourism.
Thailand is the greatest story in global tourism history.
That's a book.
No, that's what I call Thailand. The greatest story in global tourism history. There is no country in the world that has been through so many crises. We have been hit by military coups.
That's true, it's been a roller coaster, indeed.
A tsunami. We have been hit by financial crisis, the 1997 financial crisis. We have been hit by all kinds of issues.
But we're known as the Teflon destination. We keep bouncing back, don't we?
That's your version of it. I have never referred to it as that. I am calling it, well, I have once. I am calling it the greatest story in tourism history because when it goes to the future, there is no country in the world, which can actually teach the whole world the full overall big picture of tourism from a social, political, geopolitical, geo-economic, anthropological perspective, which is what tourism is. And it's not just about marketing. It's not just about launching another big la-di-da, entertainment song and dance routine. It's all about learning from our history, so that we do not repeat the mistakes of the past, but we also learn from our successes. History is a 2-pronged event, and that's what happens. If you learn it well, if you go to a museum and actually study the history and read the panels carefully and absorb them and intellectually try and see what are they trying to tell us here, and that's when you actually walk out of the museum feeling really enriched and intellectually nourished. Otherwise, it's just, you go there, you take the selfie and you come out and that's it. But if you walk out of there with having learned something that will actually make your life better and say, Jesus, I really need to learn from this, that's when you've got value for time and money from that thing. And that's what I'm trying to do. Because just to go back and finish that question, this country has not only been through all these crises, but it has also done marvelous work in terms of crisis management. No other country has been able to go through these ups and downs and still come out of it. And that's why I'm saying it's the greatest story in global tourism in history. Other countries like UAE and others, they've started from scratch. They built themselves, etc., etc. But when it comes to crisis management, marketing campaigns, our challenges with development, everything else, this country is the way to go forward.
Great. And as a final wrap-up of 30 seconds, how do we learn about this? You've had courses, or how can we find out more?
I'm trying to popularize my lectures on history. And
is there a website, or what can we do as viewers? How can we find out?
Next week I'm actually launching a course on this. I'm launching an executive leadership course.
Oh, fantastic!
I'm doing that next week, and I'll be happy to send you a few. Flyers on that, because I really think that management and industry decision makers today, not just in Thailand, but I think all around the PATA region, need to build a better future for the next 75 years of tourism, and this will not be done on just simply on the basis of an AI gig or whatever else. It will be based on saying, let's take a really good look at the past. And that's exactly what PATA has done. If you just walk down there and look at it, PATA has done exactly that. For the first time, they've actually got the word legacy, from legacy to vision. What is legacy? It's all about the past. And it's all right there right now. They've done a microfiche of all the old pictures. And this is for the first time that they've actually had an exhibition.
Fantastic. Great. Imtiaz Muqbil, thank you so much for meeting with us today. Very compelling argument, and I'm a bimbo against you. Oh my gosh, that was a tough interview. But hey, thanks so much for meeting with us at Trends at PATA Travel Mart 2025. Look, to be very frank, keep the voice of truth and keep saying what you have to say, because you're the balance of my candy floss positivity in the world.
Well, I cannot tell you how much I appreciate this, because I think it's good that you ask these questions, and it's good for you to put me in this position and give me a chance to respond. I think people need to understand that, and that's what I've always said. What you're doing is a wonderful service for the industry, and I think from my perspective, so am I. And I think I think in that sense, we balance each other out.
Ding ding, round 2 coming soon. Thank you.